Hey guys, welcome back to another one. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Bitcoin. Although in my screen right now, you can see a lot of red. Bitcoin over the past days, weeks, and months has been outperforming, and we're going to talk about why that is and what's happening. We're also going to talk about Florida. The governor of Florida just recently said if the U.S. unveils CBDCs or central bank digital currencies, Florida, the state, is going to ban them, which is very, very interesting. Lastly, we're going to talk about Cardano creator Charles Hoskinson. He is saying that all the noise around the banking industry going down might potentially the fingers are pointed at crypto, and that is 100% wrong. So we're going to delve into that last. Before we get there, let's check out the overall portfolio. As you know, in my channel, I check out my portfolio every single day and I give you updates as they come out. I haven't been making videos as often, so these updates for the portfolio are a little bit harder to see, but let's check it out. As you know, Bitcoin, I'm trying to average into 1 BTC, and I have almost 0.6, a little over half of 1 Bitcoin. And check it out. My actual profit and loss, I am up 10%. And that's just because I have continued to purchase Bitcoin throughout the crypto winter. If you watch the channel throughout the previous days, weeks, and months over the past year, basically, when I started DCAing every single day, it's finally actually paying off, which is pretty awesome to see. So I'm up 10%, and the rest can't be said with the rest of the portfolio. But as you know, all the money heads to Bitcoin first, and then it flows into the altcoins next. So not to say that we're heading back into the bull cycle, but that's just the overall cycle of things. So next is Ethereum, with the Shanghai upgrade coming out very, very soon. I can pull my Ethereum off of Coinbase. I have USDT. And I'm actually thinking about splitting between 50-50 USDT and 50% USDC. So I may make that update coming up very soon. And there's just so much uncertainty about the reserves with USDT, and then potentially the US government freezing the reserves for USDC. So just keeping it 50-50 and both is ideal for me, at least. So you can probably expect that change coming up very soon. I have Cardano, which I'm going to continue to hold until the next bull cycle. Then we'll see. Also, the Near protocol, that one I think is going to be very bullish with the European litigation coming up soon in the summertime. It seems like a very far time away, but we will see what happens. Optimism, once again, in the green, and that I think is going to continue to take off as the Arbitron airdrop comes out and more people continue to talk about the layer 2 narrative. Optimism is that other layer 2 that's out there that has a lot of big money flowing into it. So that will definitely continue to play off of what's happening. And then the Relio network, the RWA narrative, I think that is coming very soon. The more BlackRock continues to talk about it, I think that's when these RWA type narrative cryptos will continue to take off. So that's the overall portfolio. If you check it out, once again, if I zoom out to my all-time history for my portfolio, it's at an all-time high, which is very interesting because we are definitely not in a bull cycle right now, but I just hope the trend continues. And we'll talk about Bitcoin first, and this is Goldman Sachs. They are acknowledging that Bitcoin is the best performing asset in 2023. And I'm actually seeing a couple more of these articles come out over the past couple days, which is interesting to see because they did nothing but hate on BTC and all the other cryptocurrencies just a couple weeks ago. If you remember, earlier in January and December, that's when the crypto winter was happening and the overall stock market was going down too, but that's when they were just laying it on crypto. Now they're actually coming back and they have to kind of acknowledge it, that Bitcoin is outperforming. As there's more uncertainty in the normal traditional banking system, money is flowing into Bitcoin because it is kind of a hedge against that. There's no central government, there's no central bank that can either prop up the traditional monetary system like Bitcoin. So that is why more and more money is continuing to flow over there. And you can see this kind of like what I showed you in my portfolio, because it's comprised mostly of Bitcoin. This is the chart. If you zoom out quite a bit, you can see this coming back from November when we hit our lows down in that 15,000 range. And if you zoom in right now, Bitcoin over the past 10 days has gone up like 40%, which is pretty insane to think about. And we're also in the greed side of the fear and greed index. So I can expect, or you should expect as well, the price of Bitcoin to start to trend down a little bit as things start to cool off. And then we'll kind of see where it goes from there, depending on what's happening in the overall news cycle. So that is what's happening with Bitcoin in Florida. Like I mentioned earlier, the governor, Ron DeSantis, is introducing legislation from the state that is going to potentially ban CBDCs. And DeSantis said that CBDCs are all about surveilling and controlling the populace, and that's why he's not going to allow it in his state, which is very, very interesting to see. And that's one unique aspect to the U.S. Even though the federal government comes out with regulation, states, they still have the rights to somewhat abide by the rules of the federal government, or they can choose not to. And there's different ways about it, but this is how they're going to choose not to abide by the CBDC rule that potentially may come out with the U.S. government here soon. And that's all if the U.S. Federal Reserve introduces their CBDC. And they also said any CBDC that's created by a foreign government as well. And DeSantis is all about the central bank digital currencies being Big Brother's digital dollar. Essentially, the U.S. government will be able to see every single transaction that you make, and it's all based off of taxation. So anything that you spend money on, every time you get money, the U.S. government is going to be able to see that in the future, just to make sure that everyone is paying their due taxes. So that's one benefit to the CBDC for the government side. They can surveil everything, which is taxes, and they can definitely spin it off in a bunch of different ways, I bet you can imagine. So that's going to be the second thing I talk about. The last thing I talk about has to do with the Cardano creator. Charles Hopkinson is talking about how the overall narrative from the news cycle and the politicians has to do with the U.S. banking crisis is because of crypto. This has been uttered a little bit, but it definitely probably is going to continue. And Hopkinson says that central banks and politicians created this banking crisis, and now they're going to blame crypto. Don't fall for it, and keep lists to remember that the ballot box, when election time comes, be a single issue crypto voter. And that does stand true, because a lot of people, they're trying to twist what's happening, even though it's 100% the federal government that's kind of causing it. They're kind of propping up everything, and they're backfilling all the holes. But at one point in time, I'm not sure when, no one knows when, things are going to start breaking. And when things start breaking, there may be more blame in the crypto side. So just keep an eye out for that. So that was the last thing I wanted to talk about. Overall, as you know, the crypto market has been up and down. If you're interested in what I'm buying, check out the link in the description below to my Patreon. If not, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next one.